Mario Kart has been something that has resonated with me my whole life. Mario Kart Wii was one of the earliest games I can remember playing. Whether you're a kid at a sleepover or you're getting drunk with your college friends. I don't actually know these people are in college. I'm assuming they're in college. Mario Kart was just always the easy casual game that everyone knows that you can just bring out. And it was just going to be a good time, regardless. So why is the newest entry in the series so controversial? Well, there's many answers to that question. Oh, well, I guess the Switch 2 not having any games has nothing to do with Mario Kart World itself. So, my bad. I mean, let's be honest. Right now, it's just like Switch 2, Nintendo kind of fell off, bro. That's just kind of the point I'm trying to make. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. But also, just while bringing up this guy might be like the real life Bowser, bro. Like, dude just hates fun. Bro is really related to Bowser, man. That is crazy, man. Also, what kind of like last name is Bowser? Now I'm just like curious, where does the name Bowser even come from? Like, this is completely off topic, but we got to do some research into this, man. All right, hold on. We gotta look this up because now I'm curious. I know how to spell. Don't worry about that. 1920s from the name of a company of oil storage engineers. Huh? What is this? Nah, I just wanted the name origin though. No, Bowser name origin. Bro, wait. Stop. Let me type. My computer's not working again. Okay, the name primarily originates as an English and Norman French surname, often derived from the phrase Bézier, meaning fine sir or good sir. Excuse my French. It's a tragic story because underneath all that controversy is one of the mechanically best Mario Kart games, and I'm going to explain why. So, little spoiler, is Mario Kart World dog shit? Yeah, a little bit. Is it mechanically also the best game? Yes. And unfortunately, Nintendo had killed it with some bad decision making. And I'm going to explain why. So let's go do it. Now, before we get to the good and the very, very, and I mean very bad, we're going to talk about why I even got this game in the first place, because I wasn't even planning on getting it. Okay, so I'm going to try to just like make this story quick. Essentially, I was in college, and due to an internship, I had gotten a big paycheck. So I had multiple options, either get a PC or get the Switch 2. Take a wild guess which one I got. If you picked A or B, you actually got it wrong. I actually did the smart thing and I invested my money and made a little bit of a return. Then after that, of course, I got the fucking PC. Mario was literally my childhood. I mean, he was literally my childhood hero. I have a tradition to where even at the age of 21, I will still to this day go as Mario every year for Halloween. He's my main in Smash. Bro is my guy. He is my GOAT. But at this current time in my life, I didn't really want to play any Nintendo games at that time. And when I saw the Mario Kart World trailer, that just kind of reinforced that thought even more. After I saw the trailer, I'm like, wow, I'm probably not going to get this game. And it was due to one shot in the trailer. Just one. I don't know what it was. I really don't know what it was. But this one shot here, something about it just was off. I couldn't put my finger on it at the time because I didn't actually play the game. What did I know? This shot actually is one of the biggest problems with the game. I just somehow knew it before I even played the game. And when the game released, I heard some not so great things about it. So I was definitely not going to get the game. Especially since, that $80 price tag. An $80 price tag kind of fucking sucks cock and balls I wasn't gonna pay $80. What game is worth $80? I can't think of a singular game right now that costs should be even $80. The best game that I played recently was Expedition 33. That game, if any game, should be $80, and it was $50. All right, you know what? I just need to cut to the chase. I wasn't planning on getting this game. But then I randomly stumbled upon a video on YouTube on the game. And I don't remember the exact video, but I do remember what I saw, and I'll replicate what I saw with my own gameplay here. The clip's only 30 seconds because I don't have a capture card, and I don't think I'm gonna play the Switch enough on this channel to warrant a capture card. So you all only get 30-second clips. You're welcome. Aren't I such a generous guy? So Pascal from the future. I actually just remembered I actually do have a capture card. It's like probably almost 10 years old at this point, but I got a capture card. Do I care about honestly recording gameplay with the capture card? Fuck no. So you're still getting 30-second clips, man. Anyways, the game's been out for a couple months, and nothing I did on that Great Question Blocks Ruins clip was impressive. But you have to understand, from the perspective of someone who's never played the game before and has played Mario Kart, seeing that for the first fucking time was awesome. And it's like everyone was going crazy over that shortcut. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, that actually looks super fun. And I looked into it, and there's tons of other kind of things you can do similar to this clip here. So I was like, damn, you know what? I got a huge paycheck. You know, my Switch 1, which is a launch day Switch, was starting to sound like an airport. So I just thought, you know what, fuck it. I'm just gonna go buy a Switch 2. I use my Switch for social gatherings anyways, so I'm gonna need a replacement Switch. Another thing as well is by getting the bundle, you pay $50 effectively for this game instead of $80. Because again, this game, you could maybe argue is worth $50, maybe, but it's definitely not worth fucking $80. Alright, so first things first, I just kind of want to talk about what's good about the game. I feel like the game already has enough of a controversial reputation. It's been kind of shat on a lot, but genuinely, this game in isolation mechanically is the best Mario Kart game, just because of the amount of things you can do with the game's mechanics. And honestly, I'm just going to showcase that here with a couple of clips and just the shortcuts that you can do in this game. You know, and it sucks because a lot of the bad decisions that this game, or I guess the bad decisions that Nintendo made, really hold this game back, like severely hold this game back from what it could have been. So we're on Whistle Stop Summit here, and this is one of the most loved tracks in the game for a reason. And I mean, just look at this ending shortcut I can do here. I mean, that is absolutely insane, and that will save you so much time. Look at this one I can do on Bowser's Castle. Get on the rail, bounce off of this sign, and I mean, you could just skip the whole turn here without a mushroom. I mean, again, this people who play this game say, you know, gameplay wise, this is one of the best Bowser's Castles, because it's just, there's so many shroomless shortcuts on this track. You can even wall ride off of the wall here. You can jump off, get on the wall there, and skip that whole turn. I mean, doing all this is super satisfying and super fun to do. Here's another one on Faraway Oasis. You can get on this rail, jump on this rail, get on the sign, get off the sign, trick on this rail, you know, trick off the rail again, and then hop onto this one. You know, I mean, that's just so cool. And you know what? There's even multiple different ways you can take the shortcut. You could just say, you know what? I'm just going to charge jump and skip the whole turn. You can do that too. I mean, there's so many different ways you can take these cuts. And the best tracks in this game, and just kind of the best tracks in the whole Mario Kart series, really take advantage of the rail riding, the wall riding, and the charge jumping. These mechanics really take the game to the next level. And and you can say, oh, if you just know these shortcuts, you kind of just win. And honestly, that kind of is the case. This kind of can be a double-edged sword, because this is definitely kind of the highest, I think, skill gap Mario Kart for sure. If you just know these shortcuts, you can just win, which again can kind of be a double-edged sword that can keep people away from the game. But let's be honest, what's really keeping people away from the game is they're not getting a Switch 2 anyways. But regardless, even that whistle stop summon shortcut, for example, right? Oh, I'm just gonna go take that shortcut every time. Well, if you do take that rail, you have the potential of getting hit by an item and falling off. You could get bumped off. You could get shocked off. I mean, it's not a completely safe shortcut. So what you need to do is, when you get up on that turn, you need to make a decision. Do I want to go attempt this shortcut, or do I want to go around and play it safe and get an item? Or that far away Oasis clip where there's multiple ways to kind of take a shortcut. Or Shy Guy Bazaar is a really good example. Do you want to go to the right here and get on this rail and take a slightly faster cut? Or do you want to go to the left, play it safe, and grab an item? I mean, again, there's 24 players instead of 12 in this game, which that's a point I'll go into later. But there's so much decision making that you have to make with this game, and some of the best tracks in this game have you make those decisions. And it's something that when you see, it can look really cool, it can look very intimidating, but it is super satisfying to do. And even going back and playing previous Mario Kart games, I just kind of miss these mechanics. That's how smooth this game feels. They really nailed it. They really nailed this part of the game, man. They really did. And this kind of just goes into my next point here. And I kind of touched on this a little bit, but this game, again, has some of the best tracks in the series, man. Whistle Stop Summit, Great Question Block Ruins, Bowser's Castle. I mean, these are just some really banger tracks, man. And some of the ones that made a return. DS Airship Fortress is really good as well. It feels even better to play in this game than in previous games. There's also DK Pass, which you saw gameplay of. That was always a track that was just kind of to me, but in this game, due to the mechanics of the game, this track is honestly just one of the best in the game, because again, there's so much decision making and so much tech you can do on the track. It's really just even better in this game than ever before. Now, again, not every track in this game is good. There are tracks in this game that are very mid or just very dog shit, and that's gonna kind of be covered more in the bad section of this video. But just so you know, in this game, the best tracks are like the best in the series. Like, they're the best of the best. And this game also has some of the, I'm not gonna go as far and say the worst tracks. This game can kind of have the most empty or just nothing burger, if I'm gonna coin a term here, tracks, and you'll see why. Another really good thing about this game that I do want to bring attention to as well is just the amount of costumes a lot of these characters have. I really think this kind of pushes in the direction for more customization in Mario Kart that, the series has kind of lacked a lot. I mean, I think this is something that, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, for example, does way better. They have way better customization. And honestly, I'll probably talk about that game at some point too. But again, the different costumes that each of the characters has is really awesome. And I will say, even though some characters have less costumes than others, Like for some reason DK and I think like Pauline only have like literally one extra costume, which is like really strange. I don't know why they don't have more, but hopefully, you know, when DLC comes out in like 3 years, we'll get more costumes for people. I also like how a lot of these random enemies are characters in this game. I really think that's super funny, super cool. I mean, you can play as like Bonefish, you can play as Conkdor. I don't even know what the fuck that is. It's like a bird giraffe hybrid. You know, you can play as Coin Coffer, bro. I mean, Coin Coffer is like a certified classic, man. You gotta love Coin Coffer. Who doesn't love Coin Coffer? And obviously, my one and only GOAT, Monty Mole. Man, Monty Mole is one of my mains. Dude is just so fucking adorable, man. I love Monty Mole, man. Just, I wish he was real, bro. I wish he was real. Last little point I just wanted to make here to round off the good section is I had to give credit where credit's due. This game's visuals are breathtaking. When I saw a sunset for the first time in this game, I genuinely like had to take a screenshot of that, man. It genuinely looked amazing. I didn't think it could get much better than Mario Kart 8, but somehow they did it. You know, this game visually looks really amazing. You know, playing Rainbow Road, especially for the first time, was an experience, even though the track is honestly, in my opinion, way too fucking long. Point still stands, man. They made a very beautiful game here. So gotta give it credit there, man. Okay, so this is the kind of mixed opinions part of the video, which is gonna be very short because honestly, there's only one part of the game that I feel like is just good or bad depending on how you look at it. So normally in every other Mario Kart game, there are 12 racers at a given point. This time in this game, there are 24 players. Now, Mario Kart has always been about fun and chaos, and 24 players definitely brings that to the table, which again, that could be a good thing. We all know the phrase getting Mario Karted. When there's 24 players, when you get Mario Karted, you're not just like getting fucked. You are getting like railed. You are getting pounded. You are getting sent to Pound Town, man. It's really, really bad. I will say this, the tracks, for example, this kind of adds to that problem. Some of the tracks were made with 24 players in mind. So that means they've been scaled to be a lot bigger. So, you know, you're not just in a clusterfuck the whole time, right? And then you have other tracks that weren't really seemingly made with 24 players in mind. I'll just give one track for an example. Toad's Factory from Mario Kart Wii is one of the few tracks in this game where the rating for me will actually change depending on how many players there are. If there are 12 players racing on Toad's Factory, that track's like an A tier track for me, man. I really like it. I like Toad's Factory a lot. But when there's 24 players, oh, that immediately drops to a D tier. It is unplayable. It is like dead ass like unplayable, man. It's really bad. And it's not just like a Toad's Factory problem. That just can kind of happen on any track. You can just genuinely, there's just too many people. Like, honestly, sometimes when I'm watching back the gameplay and I just see how many people are on my screen, I'm just like, holy shit. Yeah, it's a lot of people. So yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword, man. I would say the 24 players is fun until it's not fun. That's all I have to say about that. So now we are on to the bad section of the video. So now we get to be negative Nancy's. I mean, humanity loves being negative, man. So, you know, this is what we were built for. We love shitting on things, so we're gonna shit on the game. But all jokes aside, why is this game so controversial if it has all the great things that I talked about earlier? If it's mechanically the best Mario Kart game, why is it so hated to an extent, right? Well, the best way to answer that question is one part of the game is like an 8 or 9 out of 10, and that was the good stuff. You know, that's what most people want to play, right? But there's another part of the game that we have not talked about, and unfortunately this part of the game is not something you can avoid, mainly if you play online. If you're playing online, you cannot avoid this. But what this thing is that you cannot avoid will take the game from like a 9 out of 10 to a straight like fucking 4 out of 10. And that's being generous, man. For me personally, it slowly goes from a 4 to a 2 out of 10. It is that bad. It's not even bad. It's shit. It's not even shit. It's just ass. It's honestly, it is so bad that I end up just getting off and would rather just do anything else. The majority of this game's problems all stem from one big issue they made with this game, and that's the open world. The open world is responsible for most, if not all, of this game's issues. And the biggest consequence of the open world are the intermissions, man. The intermissions, the roots, whatever the hell you want to call them, it doesn't matter what you want to call them. They fucking suck. And I alluded to it earlier in the video. At the beginning of the video, I said I saw the reveal trailer and I showed the shot of the highway section. And even when and again I said this, when I watched that trailer and I saw that shot, I couldn't put my finger on it. I didn't know why this felt off, right? But that was an intermission. And the intermissions fucking suck. So here's how it works. Because it's an open world game, what they wanted to do is they wanted to do something that's cool in concept, but actually translating it into an actual, gameplay concept didn't work. They wanted to drive in between tracks. You know, an interconnected world sounds sick on paper, right? The thing is, on these intermissions, when you are driving on these intermissions, it is mostly kind of just a straight line with a couple of turns here and there. It's just, they're just boring. I mean, there's just nothing, there's no track. Mario Kart is Mario Kart because of the tracks. The intermissions are boring. I have given them a chance. I have given them months of a chance. The intermissions are boring. This game's been out for what, like 7-ish, 8-ish months? I don't remember. Came out in June last year, right? June 2025. Am I correct on that? Did it come out then? I don't know, man. I lost track of time, man. Dude, the intermissions are boring. There's no, you'll maybe make a turn occasionally here and there, but there are multiple reasons also why these intermissions are very boring. Number one, as I mentioned, there's just a lack of just basic turning. Which, I mean, that's like the bare minimum. Like, a turn doesn't sound that exciting, but in some of these intermissions, there's barely any of them. You know what I mean? So it's just boring, you know? And another thing as well, those great mechanics that I was talking about, you know, the charge jump, the wall riding, the rail grinding, all that stuff that makes this game a 8 or 9 out of 10 just gets thrown out the window, because you basically can't do any of that on these intermissions. You can't, right? You can ride on like these power pole things, or you know, you can maybe ride on like some rails here and there, but most of the time it's just slower. So you're just actively hurting yourself by doing it, and it's also just not that exciting. So it's just like, what makes this game so amazing and so great? All these these mechanics, you can't do them on the intermissions. So for the most part, you're kind of just doing nothing for a majority of the race. Oh, but what about when you actually reach the other track? Because the intermissions are in between tracks. What happens when you actually get to the track? You only play one lap of it. That's it, just one lap. So you do this long, boring ass race to just play one lap of the track? Just one. Whenever I'm playing the intermissions, it just feels like a waste of time. It just feels like the first part of the race doesn't even matter. I literally, when I would play intermissions, I would literally like look away from the screen. I would bring out my phone, I would like put on Spotify, and I would just honestly just play on complete autopilot, turn off my brain as we just go to the next track, just listening to music. I was more locked in on choosing a song to listen on Spotify than actually playing the game. That's how boring it is. It's not like, oh, casuals love intermissions and like people who play Mario Kart a lot really don't. No. Even casuals, even like people I know in real life, casual friends who have played this have said the intermissions are boring. You're not doing anything, man. It's just terrible. And another reason why these intermissions are also not the best is because bagging. I'm just going to quickly summarize what bagging is. Bagging, essentially, in Mario Kart is where you purposely fall behind just so you can get a good item, right? And save that item to use, either for like a big shortcut, either to dodge the shock, right? Because if you front run in certain scenarios, you'll end up just getting screwed later, and maybe bagging would be the more optimal strategy. I think I explained that correctly. But bagging, pretty much, and as you can see here, I'm going to put on some gameplay of when I'm doing it. A lot of people are just sitting back, grabbing items in the back here, and then they're just staying in the back for the first part of the race. And the reason why that is because, one, while you're in the back, you can freely collect coins without getting hit. Coins make you go faster, so you can just easily get coins without getting, hit, in the clusterfuck of the 24 players that this game has. You can just collect coins for free. And then also these intermissions have huge off-road shortcuts to where you can just come back fairly easily. So you can spend time in the back because you can come back very easily. It's not hard to come back at all. Pretty much on every intermission, you should almost always bag. There's no reason for you not to. And yes, you can argue, don't bag, just play the game normally. Whether or not I bag, it's still gonna be boring as fuck. You know what I'm saying? So I might as well just try to win. Plus, I don't really care about, whether I front run or not, it's still just gonna be the most boring experience, man. Earlier I said you cannot avoid these intermissions. That is technically both true and false depending on what you're doing within the game. So if you're playing offline, you can actually avoid the intermissions entirely if you wanted to. I think you go to versus race. Unfortunately, the intermissions are intertwined with the get it intertwined intermission. I just realized that pun as I was making it, man. I'm a genius. Really, there's no one in the pun game like me. But back on track. Unfortunately, the intermissions are intertwined with Grand Prix, so there is no normal Grand Prix mode in this game, which kind of sucks. I feel like that's a huge part of, couch, Mario Kart, you know what I mean? So the fact that that's not a thing really is pretty bad. But in versus race, you can select any track you want and just play that track. So you don't even have to play the intermissions, which that's great. So, hey, that's all fine and good. So you can avoid the intermissions. If you don't want to play the intermissions, don't play them, right? So what's the problem? Well, when you go to play online, the story changes a little bit, right? So when you go to versus race, online, you cannot pick whatever track you want. You are given 3 options to pick and a random course. You're given 3 courses to pick and a random course. Almost most of the time, it's an intermission. If there's like a little arrow connecting towards the track icon, that means it's an intermission. If it's separated, that means it's an actual 3-lap track, right? And the 3-lap tracks are a lot more rare than the intermissions, right? So you don't get to play the 3-lap tracks that often. It used to be way worse. Over time, they increase the chances of, a 3-lap track appearing, but they have not made a 3-lap track playlist. And the reason why that is I'm just going to honestly summarize my thinking on that. It's kind of a sunk cost fallacy. The open world, they put a lot of dev time into the open world. And when people don't like the open world and don't want to play it, well, you spent all this time making something, all these extra resources, money and time, and labor to create this part of the game that no one wants to interact with. Nintendo's not going to like that. So they're going to be like, well, you're going to like it whether you want to or not, because we put all this time into it. If we just made the 3-lap tracks, well, why do we even make an open world game? It's a sunk cost fallacy, which I'm asking the same question. Why did you make an open world game? Theoretically, an open world game could work. For Mario Kart, theoretically, an open world game can work. But you have to actually put stuff in it. But I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Right now, if you just play versus online, you cannot consistently play 3-lap tracks. Except if you go to a friend room. This is where things change. If you host a room or join a friend room or whatever it's called, I forgot. If you go into a friend room, you can actually press the plus button and you can pick any track you want, right? You don't have to play intermissions because you can vote to not play intermissions, right? So, hey, that solves the problem. You don't have to play the intermissions you don't want to, right? The problem is, most people don't really have 23 friends ready to just play Mario Kart World on the Nintendo Switch 2. Honestly, with today's disconnected society, people probably don't even have friends, period. So what's the next best option? Discord server. They have Mario Kart World Discord servers, and there was a big main one that you could join, and through this method, you were able to join rooms and you could vote for tracks that did not include the intermissions at all, and this was the way to avoid intermissions. Yo, it is Pascal, and as I'm recording this, I'm realizing this is taking too long, so we are just going to get to the point. The intermissions are hot dookie ass dog water cheeks. We don't want to play them. They suck. And I don't want to have to join a Discord server just to play the game normally like I have been playing for years. So, end the story. Let's just move on to the next point. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we talked enough about the intermissions, so let's just move away from the intermissions. Clearly, the intermissions are the biggest negative of this game, but what about offline? How is the open world fare offline? Because it is a big world, and there's a lot of places off the track you can go. They even said, they like bragging in the trailers and shit. Oh, you can go off the track, off the road here. Let's see what's off the track. Well, as you can see, there is literally nothing. It could not have been more bare. If you make an open world, you gotta have stuff to do in it. That's why I said an open world theoretically could work. it theoretically could work, but you have to actually put stuff in it. And maybe having like a slightly smaller island with the tracks kind of closer together maybe would have negated some of this, because then it would be easier to fill in the spaces. It would maybe make the intermissions, or at least it would make the intermissions easier to, you know, have stuff on them, you know, so they're actually more interactive and aren't just like bare road or just bare highway, you know what I mean? If you just made the design more tight, maybe that could have helped, right? So a lot of this space is empty, but there are things, right? And these come in the form of P-switch missions, question block panels, I think they're called. Yeah, question block panels, and peach medallions. I don't want to spend too long on this section either, because this video is already too long, but the P-switch missions are just brain dead easy. They're just too easy, man. Honestly, they're just a joke. So I don't really care about those. I don't really know who would. I think there's like only one that was actually like really challenging and actually super fun to do, but other than that one, I haven't found any. I'll see if I can try to get gameplay of it here. But yeah, then you have these peach medallions, which, I mean, those and the question block panels, I think, give you stickers. Do you want to know what the stickers do? That's all you can do. You can just put a sticker on your vehicle that you can barely even see. Wow, that really makes me want to go out and look for these things. You know, that gives me so much incentive to find everything. I get a fucking sticker. I get a fucking sticker like I just got out of the fucking doctor's office, or well, I guess they give you band-aids, or they'll give you like fucking Toy Story fucking. I don't know, just insert old Pixar Disney movie when you were a kid, you left the doctor office type beat. I don't know. They don't give you stickers at the doctor's office usually, but honestly, a band-aid is better than a sticker anyways, I guess, maybe. I don't know. Whole point is the stickers suck. We don't care about the stickers. Stickers are useless. No one cares about this. I mean, the customization is just so lackluster. The best thing you can do with the stickers is they can give you like a little player icon during like races. People can like see them, I guess, especially when you're about to get into a race, but that's like literally it. So yeah, the open world, there's basically almost nothing good about the open world. I'm gonna be honest, I'm trying to think of something good. There's almost nothing good about the open world. Oh wait, that actually is another point I'd like to make about the open world aspect of the game. Earlier I said certain tracks, I specifically mentioned Starview Peak and Peach Beach as nothing burger tracks. One thing about this game is some of the tracks can feel very basic, whether that's in design or maybe visually, and that's because of the open world. The open world and having the tracks be in an interconnected world, unfortunately they had to kind of sacrifice some identity with these tracks, right? Dino Jungle is a good example. Visually, Dino Jungle looks alright, but I think it's a downgrade. I think it's a downgrade over previous versions of Dino Jungle that, you know, were actually in a jungle, you know, and you go inside like a temple and all that stuff. It just lost scale. It just doesn't feel as grand anymore. You know what I mean? Boo Cinema, for example. Boo Cinema has a really sick idea. You jump into a movie theater. You know what I'm saying? I mean, well, you don't jump to a movie theater, you literally jump through the screen, and I think that's a really cool concept, but it's just a figure eight. They couldn't have done a thing where maybe the layout of the track inside the film changes. Like maybe you, like the first lap, you go into like a Dracula's castle and it's a different layout, then you come out of the film and like the part that's in the theater stays the same every lap, and then the second lap you go into, maybe it's like based off a different kind of horror movie theme. I'm just throwing out ideas. They could have made it more interesting, but it's just a figure eight, and a lot of tracks are just kind of basic like that, like super basic. Like Starview Peak. Starview Peak is literally like, it's a beta track. It's so empty. Starview Peak has like nothing on it. It's so barren. There's nothing on here. It's boring. And I realized something. Some of the best tracks in this game, Great Question Block Ruins, Bowser's Castle, Whistle Stop Summit, I think one of the reasons why they're also so good is just not only because of the tech and stuff like that, they're so separated from the other tracks due to just their location that they feel more like their own track, and like they're able to have their own environment, especially Bowser's Castle and Great Question Block Ruins, because they're literally in the sky. You know what I mean? All right, so we are very close to done with this. So just to kind of wrap up the bad section, since I can't really think of anything else that's bad with the game, mainly it's just the open world. That's honestly just been the biggest issue with this game. I wanted to go over the items, because most of the items, or most of the new items in this game, they don't add a lot of value, or they're just straight up bad. I want to talk about the coin shell. This thing literally only helps people in front of you. It doesn't track people. It goes down the middle of the road, and there's a warning when you can see it's coming. So it's one of the easiest things to avoid. So not only are you going to hit almost no one with it, you just give the people in front of you coins. That's it. Like, it's an item that literally just helps people. Unless you're like all the way in the back and you can just collect the coins without people bothering you. But that's the thing. If you're in the back, I don't want a coin shell. I want a mega mushroom, a bullet, a golden shell, triple shrooms. I don't want a coin shell. You know what I mean? And the thing is, you can actually get the coin shell in like 16th place. I'm just throwing out a random number, but I swear I was in 18th place one time and I got a coin shell. And it was the third lap. Do you know what I did to my desk after that, man? Why would they give that to you in 18th place? Like, that's just brain dead, dude. But yeah, the items fundamentally just kind of useless in my opinion. If you're right behind someone and you throw it, you can hit them, but then it just goes back on following the middle of the track. If you throw it behind you, it doesn't follow a track and it'll just go in a straight line behind you. So you can technically throw it behind you, but then that just gives coins to the people behind you. You see what I mean? Like, it just gives people coins. So why would I want to use that? That's stupid, dude. This next new item is the ice flower. Now, the ice flower in of itself is not bad. The only thing is, it's just a reskin of the fire flower. They couldn't have made it done something different. Like, here's an idea. Maybe for it to affect someone, you have to hit 2 ice balls, right? Which, that seems like it sucks on paper, but if they get hit by 2 ice balls, it just almost completely stops them in place. They lose a lot of speed. So it's harder to use than a fire flower, but it's more devastating when you do get those multi-hits. You know what I mean? That's just an idea, something to make it different, so it's just not a reskin of a fire flower. You know what I mean? So it can do something different. Even in Mario Bros, even in the Mario Bros games, the fire flower and ice flower do different stuff. Why could it not be the same here? Next is the hammer. I'm gonna be honest with you, I actually think this is pretty cool item. So technically it shouldn't even be in the bad section. I think for an attack item, it's pretty unique. It covers it kind of stays on the ground a little bit and covers like a huge area. So honestly, they did a good job with this. This should not be in the bad section, but we're already here. So most of the new items are bad, so that's why it's in the bad section. And then here we have the question block. This, I think, what it does is pretty much you hit it and it will drop a bunch of coins on the floor, which again helps other players. It helps other players behind you, which, yeah, that's technically bad. The only way I think this item works well is if you're in first place. I think this is actually a really good first place item, because what it does is it gives first place a slight speed boost, very like negligible speed boost, but it also drops coins for players behind first place to be able to to help them kind of catch up. So it's kind of like a catch up mechanic, for the people behind first place, but it gives first place a little bit of a speed boost, and it gives first place coins. So maybe make it like a semi-rare, maybe just like a semi-rare first place item. Like I think honestly as a top place item, the coin block's not bad, but it does kind of help other people. And then we have the Kamek orb. I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of just a wild card. I think it adds a lot of chaos to the game. Can drop a bunch of enemies on the ground. Not only that, it actually can stop players from drifting, which if you use that on super tight turns, that could actually just really devastate players. It's kind of similar to the how the bullet bill has been reworked in this game. It doesn't knock like players like out, or it doesn't hit hard anymore, but what it does is it can like cancel your drift if it runs into you, which can actually really devastate some players. So Kamek orb's not bad. So I don't know why the hell I put this in the bad section. I think honestly because most of the new items in this game are either just kind of useless or just help players, which is honestly only half of them. So clearly I'm an idiot and I didn't think this far ahead, but that's okay. Honestly, when I think of the items, I think of the coin shell, and it's useless. So that's enough to warrant it being on the bad section. Also, this item is not new, but I do want to talk about it. And that is the boomerang. I hate this thing. Everyone hates this thing. It literally, not only can you throw it 4 times, you can throw it 4 times, and it can travel like an insane distance the last time you throw it. Unless you have an invincibility item, you will just get hit by it. So even if you have shells, there's nothing you can do about this item, right? So when someone behind you has a boomerang, you're just kind of screwed, because even if you dodge the first 2 throws they throw the boomerang with, you know what I'm saying, they still have 2 more tries, and they're probably gonna hit you in 4 tries, man. So it sucks, you know what I mean? Not only does it suck for the players getting hit by it, it also sucks for the players who have it, because let's say a shortcut's coming up and you have a mushroom or a speed item in your second slot, but you have a boomerang in your first slot. If the shortcut's coming right up and you have a boomerang in your first slot, you might not be able to get rid of it in time in order to use your mushrooms to take the shortcut, because you have to throw it 4 times. So it's an item that both players hate, getting hit by, and hate also using. Literally, there's just almost no scenario you want it. Literally, it's when people were making like custom lobbies and stuff like that for Discord, the boomerang flower was literally the only item in contention to be like banned. Like they were gonna go into custom items and just ban the item, because it was just, no one wants it. You don't want to get it, and you don't want to be hit by it. It's just bad. And to end off the bad section, I'm just gonna quickly talk about battle mode, or the lack thereof. Nintendo, what the fuck is this? 2 game modes being balloon battle, coin runners, and some of the battle maps are the tracks. We already made this mistake with the Wii U version of Mario Kart 8, and then you fix it in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. How are you gonna have an open world game but you couldn't even add in unique battle maps? Like what? I'm done. I'm not talking about this too long. This video is already too long. Alright, so now that we're out of the bad section, if we're gonna talk about all the game modes, I at least wanted to give Knockout Tour its flowers. And yes, I said flowers, because I don't know how to explain it, but the game mode is actually really fun. It's really strange because it's on the intermissions. So I think honestly, Knockout Tour is the only way I enjoy the intermissions. If I'm playing an intermission to a track in any kind of normal race, again, I've already explained it, I hate the game. The first part of the race doesn't feel like it means anything. But Knockout Tour, again, just actually is fun, even though it's on the intermissions. And I think, again, one, it's just a new format. It's kind of like a battle royale kind of format, which is really new and exciting for Mario Kart. I mean, well, I guess like balloon battle and stuff exist, but we're not fucking playing battle mode in this game, obviously. But it's just a really fun game mode. And I think, again, the bagging issue that I mentioned in the intermissions is slightly mitigated here because of the gates that they have. So, you know, you can get eliminated early on if you bag a little too heavily. Not that bagging is impossible in the game mode, but you have to go through so many intermissions. You got to basically like play like 6 different intermissions in a row, which sounds horrible on paper. But again, because of the gates, you know what I mean? If you bag at the first intermission and you just catch back up, well, you still have 5 intermissions to go anyways. So bagging's not really as like broken here. Well, it kind of is sometimes. I mean, again, the intermissions still do have very massive shortcuts. I think I'll show myself taking like a really massive shortcut with a golden mushroom that pretty much just kept me in first the whole time. I didn't win this intermission, by the way. I missed a feather shortcut clutch, which I actually did earlier in this video on Wario Shipyard. So clearly I don't know how to use the feather item. I suck. But regardless, the game mode is just, again, I hadn't played Knockout Tour in literally like months, but when I played it again, it was actually really fun. I just don't know how to explain it. And I think the game mode could be better if maybe you started at a track, you played a track, and then maybe people get eliminated like after a lap or two of playing that track. Then you play an intermission to another track. So instead of going through tracks, you actually play that track. So you actually go to a neighboring track, you actually play like a lap. I'm gonna say a lap because maybe 2 laps would be a little too long, but you maybe play a lap of that track and then people get knocked out, you know, there, and then you take another intermission to another track, right? That's a way I think it could just be even better. But again, I wanted to give Knockout Tour its own section because I wanted to talk about the intermissions before I talked about Knockout Tour. So to be honest, Knockout Tour, I don't know. I don't know if it's like a good thing necessarily. I don't know if it should be in the good section. It's almost like, even though it has a bad thing, it's somehow good or good-ish. You know what I mean? I don't think it's a game mode I enjoy if I played, you know, over and over and over again, but every once in a while, it's honestly kind of a welcome surprise. So if you haven't played Knockout Tour in a while, I'd say just give it a try. You might actually enjoy it, man. Okay, so we're finally at the end of the video here. So I just want to take a quick second to just kind of give final thoughts, final conclusions. Overall, to just summarize what I said throughout the video. Again, mechanically, this is the best Mario Kart game. Again, the charge jumping, the rail riding, wall riding really make this a super fun game to play that almost no other Mario Kart game can really replicate, man. When you go back and play previous Mario Karts, it's, you know, even though you actually get to play 3-lap tracks and not have to deal with the intermissions, you can sometimes miss the mechanics of Mario Kart World. That's how good they are. But unfortunately, the open world had really hurt this game a lot more than it helped it. Theoretically, again, open world could work, but you have to just put way more time into it. Again, a lot of parts of this game feel super rushed. Mainly the open world, you know, it's just very empty. Battle mode, for example, is the most clear example of this game being rushed. Why the fuck did you even put that in the game? I'm just, battle mode might as well just not even be in the game. You might as well just add it as DLC later with how empty battle mode is. That is a joke. Regardless, I also wanted to say, how can Nintendo necessarily, how can they fix this? How can this be changed? And, you know, how can they move forward with this game? Well, I think unfortunately, to an extent, some of the issues kind of just can't be fixed, right? the open world is a part of the game, and it's too much of a part of the game for it to just kind of be completely removed. I already kind of explained why Nintendo really don't want to just add a 3-lap playlist. Again, even in one of the recent updates, I don't know if it was 1.5 or something like that, but they actually changed some of the intermissions to Koopa Troopa Beach, not only to include some turns. Whoa, wow, I know, that's so amazing. You get to turn 2 times. Wow, instead of a straight line, you get 2 turns. What a deal. But they added some more stuff on some of the intermissions to Koopa Troopa Beach. And when you get to Koopa Troopa Beach, you actually get to play 2 laps of Koopa Troopa Beach instead of 1. Because, again, 1 lap of just a small-ass circle, it was kind of a joke. But because of that update, that really told me, okay, they'd rather fix the intermissions or try to make them more bearable versus just making a 3-lap playlist, right? So that shows me that, unfortunately, a lot of this game's issues are just kind of here to stay, and you kind of just have to deal with them. And again, the tracks, again, this game has some really amazing tracks, but some of the tracks being super basic obviously just can't be just fixed, because again, the open world has caused them to be super basic. I don't know how they're going to handle adding new tracks in the future, but hopefully they can maybe suffer a little less from the open world design. But overall, I do really think there is a really great game here. Honestly, right now, I think I can't recommend this game at $80. I couldn't. If you're gonna get this game, get the bundle with the Switch 2, which basically means kind of just only get this game if you're just getting a Switch 2. It's more like if you're getting a Switch 2 anyways, which I wouldn't even kind of recommend getting the Switch 2, but you know, because there's no games on it. But if you get the Switch 2, you might as well just pick up the bundle, right? But I cannot recommend this game at $80. It just does not have enough content. Or, well, I mean, the content's there, it just sucks. You know, so much dev time was wasted on a thing no one wants to play. This game would have just been better off if it just wasn't open world and they just kept in the new mechanics. That's basically it. But anyways, I know this is a super long video, but thank you for watching. Again, this is kind of my first time doing like a kind of more of like a video essay / like game analysis kind of video. But again, it's just, you know, the controversy and the polarization I feel towards this game was really fascinating, so I just really wanted to talk about it. But anyways, we're just gonna get out of here before I speak any longer. But thanks for watching.